I bid you welcome.
I welcome you to my house.
Welcome to my house.
Welcome to my home.
Hello horror hounds, welcome to my horror house and welcome back to Monster Mondays, where we look back through all the films of Godzilla. We're at 1967 and oh dear, it's Son of Godzilla. A group of scientists are stationed on a tropical island and are trying to perfect a weather controlling system. Their aim is to alter climates around the world to promote food growth and potentially eradicate world hunger. An unwelcome journalist parachutes in to investigate their work and finds an island populated by giant praying mantises, as well as a pretty island girl that he spots, Seiko, living in secret away from the scientists. Her father was a famed archaeologist who decided to remain on the islands after World War II. It turns out that her mother died in childbirth, and when he finally passed away, she was left alone to fend for herself, like some kind of sexy Tarzan. Like Tarzan isn't sexy. The giant mantises unearth a huge glowing egg and break into it. It contains a baby Godzilla who imprints a little on Seiko. The creature also prompts the arrival of Godzilla to protect his offspring. The humans now find themselves trapped on an island of monsters and a grumpy Godzilla. The giant mantises that I mentioned are known as the Kamacuras, grown to an equivalent size of Godzilla through a combination of the radiation emanating from the Godzilla egg and the weather experiments being carried out on the island. They're a fantastic enemy for Godzilla. The insectoid puppetry is really impressive, especially when they suddenly open up their carapaces and fly. Minilla is the baby Godzilla, cynically created to appeal to children and especially to the dates of young men, so that Godzilla fans can bring their girlfriends along to watch a Godzilla movie, because heaven forbid young women would like to watch giant monsters in and of themselves. Minilla is played for laughs and is supposed to be cute, but in truth he is just annoying and distractingly, for me, reminds me of the hybrid at the end of Alien Resurrection. There's another monster on the island, Kumonga, a giant spider who just happens to live there. There's no situation where the introduction of a giant spider into a movie is unwelcome, and just like the Kamacuras, it makes for a fantastic foe for Godzilla. And of course, finally, we have Godzilla himself. The anthropomorphization of Godzilla continues apace. Here you can watch him grumpily trying to teach his annoying kid how to breathe atomic fire, and even more impressively try to get some sleep while his kid is screeching and basically making a nuisance of himself. It's interesting that the more human Godzilla becomes, the more insectoid, alien and creepy they've made his enemies in this one. This is the second of two films set on an island to cut down on the special effects budget, so there's very little destruction. When Godzilla turns up to protect his son from the Kamacuras, he happens to trample all over the scientist's base, and that's about the only collateral damage you'll see in the entire film. Then he rucks with the three giant mantises, and it is an impressive fight. They're nice and creepy, but he manages to roast two of them before the third escapes. There are more broad comedy scenes with Godzilla and his son than monster fights, but Minilla does come very close to being lunch for the giant spider while his father is having a snooze. Minilla gets all webbed up and then the surviving mantis turns up. The mantis and the spider fight to decide who gets to eat the little green sod. Finally, Godzilla turns up to battle the giant spider. And I'd have loved a fight between the big G and a huge arachnid in a film that isn't played for laughs or involves Minilla joining in to try and help his old man. But you get your kicks where you can find them in this film. I grew up on the 80s Godzilla cartoon, and even for the target audience like me, Godzuki was a rubbish character and still remains a lazy punchline for anyone wanting to throw shade on Godzilla now. Even this year, with the release of Godzilla King of the Monsters, I've seen tweets like, oh, it's Godzuki in it, oh, I'm not going to go see it unless Godzuki's in it. Manila is worse than Godzuki. The jaunty music which opens the film tells you all you need to know. We're about as far away from Godzilla as the terrifying force of nature in 1954's Gojira as it is possible to get. Son of Godzilla may actually be a great entry-level film for smaller kids if you're looking to introduce them to these monster movies. Godzilla isn't threatening or scary, but they can get their chills from the giant insects and cheer as Manila helps his old man take them out. For the dads, there's the incredibly beautiful Seiko to stop you going insane if you choose to sit down and watch this with one of your own offspring. I like the array of giant creatures which inhabit this place. It gives the film a Skull Island vibe. The nuclear themes of earlier entries are steadily giving away to ecological and environmental concerns as the franchise and Godzilla's place in it evolves. This place is even referred to by one of the characters as a real monster island, which sets the stage for the next phase in the relationship between humans and Godzilla.